Well, good morning, and welcome to the Saturday Morning Power Breakfast. Take your time, have a seat, get your coffee, get your tea or juice, pull up a chair, and let's get into it. My name is Tony Stewart of TonyandAngieStewart.com, and we're grateful to have you with us today. I think we're going to share some things that are going to get you fired up and ready for your week next week. Hope you had a great week this week as you come to the last day of the week and starting off tomorrow, Sunday, with momentum and movement towards your goals and dreams. Um, as you know, the purpose of this Saturday morning power breakfast is to help you be in the 5% club. 95% of all Americans by the time they reach age 65 are dead broke or still working. And we want you to be in the wealthy or at least financially stable category. And then if you're over 65, my goodness, you can still make that happen with the stuff that we share at the Saturday morning power breakfast. In terms of today's dishes, we're going to be looking at number one, what is a system? I use that. The title of this is Your System for Success. So, what exactly is a system? We're going to talk about that. How to stand out with your system. We're going to share those information on how to do that. And lastly, we're going to talk about how to make your system better once you have it. So, that being said, let's dig in. And let's talk about what is a system. You know, um, there is a book called The Science of Getting Rich. And talk about a title, The Science of Getting Rich. You may say, Tony, I don't want to be rich. I like to be in the 5%, but I don't necessarily want to be rich. Well, what I'll tell you is something that a gentleman that I'm going to introduce you to in the next slide talks about. His name is Mark Victor Hansen. And I always love what he said. He told me once on a phone conference call, and it wasn't just me, it was a bunch of people. But I was grateful that later on, within the last year, I've had a chance to talk to him one on one and thank him. What he told me years ago was, Tony, set a goal to have a net worth of $100 million. Not for who not for the money, but for who you'll become in the experience. And then he said, and I love this, once you have $100 million, have $10 million coming from it in cash flow each year. Give away 7 million and live on 3 million. How cool is that? To be able to give away 7 million. It's almost like reverse tithing. You're giving away more than you actually spend on yourself. But that's something that he planted in my young mind years and years ago. And still something I looked forward to because, man, just think of how much good you could do if you could give away $7 million a year. So anyway, the book is called The Science of Getting Rich. You know, as in most books, except for the Bible, I don't agree with everything in there. Some of it gets to be a little foo-foo, if you will. But it's like I was telling a friend of mine just a couple of days ago. When you approach these things, treat it like a smorgasbord. When you go to a buffet, you don't eat everything on the buffet. You choose those things that you eat according to your discernment that you like to have. Do the same thing with any success material that you get a hold of, with the exception, of course, of the Holy Bible. So anyway, what he says in there is that there's a science of getting rich, and it is an exact science like algebra or arithmetic. There are certain laws which govern the process of acquiring riches, and once these laws are learned and obeyed by anyone, that person will get rich with mathematical certainty. And that's really the premise of his book. He talks about that, and he talks about that in getting to a point of being rich, there's a certain way. And I've always been intrigued by that concept, a certain way. Jim Rohn always said, plug into stuff. Go to seminars, go to books and so forth, because you may be living your life like your goals are a combination lock. And your combination lock has 6 numbers. And you're operating with 5 of those numbers. But by plugging in, by listening to something, heck, by listening to this, you may find that sixth number that unlocks something for you to help you get to your goals and dreams. So the key is in doing that, what you're doing is you're developing your system. And as I mentioned, I was going to talk to you about Mark Victor Hansen. He has the best acronym for system I've ever heard. You may have heard this before. If not, I hope you'll take it to heart now. He says a system, the word system, stands for save yourself time, energy, and money. Again, it stands for save yourself time, energy, and money. So once you approach something, and I encourage you to, in everything you do, we've talked about setting goals in different areas of your life. As you're setting those goals in different areas of your life, have a mindset towards building a system that you work to get you to those goals. And the more you can operate with a system, my goodness, if you can find a system, it might be in terms of fitness, you may find what a workout plan or an eating plan that works for you. Now it may take some time for you to get it together. You may have some issues with soreness and so forth. But if you can find a system, I'm always looking for a system. If it's a workout, I'm looking for a system that I see before and after results that look good, and people who've gotten great results. And that'll attract me to that system because I'm looking for that pattern, if you will. So I can save myself time, energy, and money. So I encourage you to do the same thing. Look for those things that can save you time, energy, and money and build those systems. Now, you may say, okay, now I got a system, or I have the potential for having a system. How do I make, how do I stand out with this system? How do I make it something that, among all other systems, is the one that's going to work for me? Well, I submit to you, my friend, that the way to stand out with your system is to learn to do a three-step process. A friend of mine who recently interviewed me, Ray Higdon, has this term he uses in terms of the content that he puts out. He says that you always go out and you invest, learn, and then you teach it, meaning that you put the content out. Well, I submit to you, and I did a short video on this real recently, and I say to stand out with your system, you got to learn to invest, learn, and do. Now, you take that pattern, and there's so many people who won't even invest in themselves. And that investment could be money, it could be time. Warren Buffett, one of the richest men on the planet, he's been quoted as saying that the most important investment you can make is an investment in yourself. But if you look at the masses, so many people are unwilling to invest in themselves. Those who do, there's fewer people who actually will take the investment and actually internalize it, actually learn what the investment was put in place to teach them. How many people buy books but never finish them? How many people buy courses but never get past the first couple of chapters or first couple of modules? It's amazing to me. But one way you can start the process of standing out with your system is not only being willing to invest, but also then digging into it, learning what you can from that investment, whatever that piece of information was meant to give you, get it. Find out if it's something for you. Really get the distinctions that you can learn from that investment. But then, and this is so important, you got to take it to the next step. You actually have to do. You have to put it into action because you could be a broke intellectual, have all this great knowledge, but because you've done nothing with it, you're sitting there broke or ineffective or sitting in the knowledge and you're looking at other people get the results that you initially were attracted to, but because you haven't put it into practice, you get left behind. I don't want you left behind. People who get in the 5% are not people who let themselves get left behind. And you mean more to me than that. So put into action, do the things that you're learning, and then you'll find out whether or not it's working for you. You know, Something that doesn't take a huge investment or of money or time that can give you a lot of benefit and you can learn from is the course that we have available for free for you. It's called the Octagon Method, and the Octagon Method is all about helping you get some tangible information in the format bite-sized chunks. That's what people love. It's bite-sized chunks of things that you can do that will inform your system. Do I believe this is an entire system? Well, actually, I do. I believe this is a system for helping you create additional streams of income without interrupting the things you may have going on. Nowadays people are busy. We don't have time to be sitting around here totally rearranging our lives to add streams of income. The Octagon Method, and you can go to octagonmethod.com to get it, is a free resource that shows you an 8-step pattern in different modules on how to add additional income streams to your life in cracks of time. So I encourage you to go out there and get it. All right, back to it. Let's take it one more step. Now you got the system. You know what the system is. You know how to stand out with your system. But how do you make the system better? Well, something we've talked about before is the whole idea of plan, do, check, and adjust. You make your system better because you take it and you say, okay, I'm going to actually do. Remember, we're going to do what we've learned from what we've invested in. We're going to do it now, put it into action. And when you do that, when you put it into action, you check your progress. You say, okay, am I seeing results? Listen, there's nothing wrong with being results oriented. Tony Robbins says that the key to happiness is a feeling of progress. So there's nothing wrong with being willing to look and expect results from those things that you put yourself into. But once you checked and you've seen the results, you could then make adjustments. You then can make adjustments. And as you make those adjustments, it becomes a new plan. You now upgraded your system. You made your system better. What do you do with that new system that you've made better? You go into action again. You do again. And you create this window, this circle of success. And I'm telling you, this system will work in every area of life. Remember PDCA, plan, do, check, and adjust. And I believe it'll make a difference for you. So that being said, again, I want to remind you, get into the Octagon Method. Take some time right now. Go there right now and get the Octagon Method. Get that information, start applying it for yourself, and making things better for yourself. It's in place to help you get in the 5% club. It's in place to help you make your life better. And guess what? It doesn't cost you anything. It's a free resource that we make available because we want to see you in the 5% club. Have a blessed week. Make this week a masterpiece. You can do it. I'm rooting for you. On behalf of Angie, I know she's rooting for you too. Have a great week, and we'll talk to you soon.